If you frequented pizza restaurants in the 1980s, then chances are you're familiar with Super Sprint. It was the overhead racing game from Atari that saw 3 players spinning their steering wheels with reckless abandon in hopes of speeding past the competition. I've always been a big fan of this style of old school racing game, so I was excited to get my hands on Brakes Are for Losers from the first-time developer Oudidon. This is a racer that evokes the spirit of Super Sprint, all while feeling every bit as shallow as that 1986 arcade game. Brakes Are for Losers is a speedy little overhead racing game where up to 8 players can compete just to see how many laps they can complete before time is up. Don't go in expecting a deep racing simulator, because the emphasis here is on fast cars that you can barely control. Like the name suggests, there are no brakes here. Your car is pedal to the metal the entire time, so the trick is mastering the remote control style steering and getting ahead of the competition. Much like Super Sprint, you'll earn a little money from each race that you can spend to upgrade the speed, handling, repairs, and more. You'll also be able to race over power-ups and special items on the course, which will do everything from confuse the other drivers, to turn them into ice, to make everything pixelated. That's pretty much the extent of the gameplay. Unfortunately, Brakes Are for Losers doesn't offer much in the way of content. There are quite a few different race courses and a bunch of memorable locations, including Space and Jurassic Park, but the tracks themselves all start to blur together after a while. It doesn't help that there are only a few championships to race and very little single-player content. This is a complaint you're gonna see me come back to over and over again. The single-player content comes in the form of a challenge mode. The game will throw you into a single stage and just want you to keep playing until you beat a set time and complete a perfect race. Complete enough of these challenges and you'll open up a new batch of levels to play through, and so on and so forth. It's not an especially involving mode, but it's a good way to practice the stages in between multiplayer sessions. And that's really how Brakes Are for Losers is supposed to be played. It's not that you can't have a good time by yourself, but it's a lot more exciting and satisfying when you're racing against friends. I like that the game makes it easy on everybody, giving you plenty of ways to split up the Joy-Cons in order to get as many people involved as possible. The result may be a chaotic mess at times, but that's part of the charm when you have a bunch of people huddled around a tiny race course. The problem is, a lot of the charm disappears the moment your friends put their controllers down. As I played through the challenges and tournaments myself, I couldn't help but be annoyed by the loose gameplay and how the cars would constantly get stuck on the environments. What this game needs is something the player is working towards, such as unlocking new cars or racetracks. A way to create custom courses would have been a lot of fun too. But instead of getting anything like that, we're left with only a handful of modes and not much to unlock. What you see is what you get with this one. With friends around, Brakes Are for Losers is an exciting, and often messy, multiplayer affair that is hard to resist. But even under the best circumstances, this debut release from Oudidon quickly runs out of gas. There's just not enough content to keep you coming back, especially if you're looking to play it by yourself. Brakes Are for Losers does a good job of evoking the spirit of games like Super Sprint, but doesn't update the formula enough to be as memorable. Hey, thanks for watching our review. So here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite old school racing game? I'm not talking about something that came out like 10 years ago, but rather the old 8 and 16-bit stuff. The real early years of racing games. Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, I have a bunch of reviews going up this week. I'll be looking at Dragon's Crown Pro, City of Brass, Coffee Crisis, and more. I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.